We're gonna do a little different, right? We're gonna call the meeting to order of the Liquor Commission, the Liquor Control Commission. Turn that over to Joe.
Thank you so much. Tonight we have 3 renewals and a one-time permit for an individual. The 3 renewals are Next Stage Arts Project. They have a first and third class license and an outdoor consumption permit in the cordoned off area in front of the building. The co-op and the general store both have second class beer and wine licenses for retail sale, no on-premises consumption. And then the third one is one that we haven't really done before. And I reached out to the town clerk network and no one else has ever seen one before either, really. Alice Laughlin, who we all know, is hosting a family wedding on property owned by the Green Mountain Orchards, Quarry Hill across from Victor's house. And typically in a situation like that, they'll bring in a caterer and who has a license in another town, and the catering permit will be approved for that event. It's also a process that we've used with Next Stage when they have something up at Cooper's Field or behind. So we're not really sure how to handle this one, but it used to be that the applicant would submit a piece of paper with all of their information. I would bring it to the local liquor control board and you would deliberate and then sign off. The way that it works now is that you deliberate, and I've drafted a motion that I gave to Eileen before the meeting to allow me to go into the Department of Liquor Control online portal and hit a button saying we approve it locally. I don't have any complaints about Next Stage, General Store, or the co-op. Their water and sewer bills are current.
Okay. Do you need a motion on that?
Yeah, I have one.
Go ahead.
I move that the Putney Liquor Control Board authorize the town clerk to approve the liquor license renewals for Next Stage Arts Project, the Putney General Store and Putney Food Co-op, and the one-time event license for Alice Laughlin on the Department of Liquor Control online portal.
Second.
All in favor? Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much.
All right, so we'll adjourn the liquor control meeting and we'll go to the select board meeting. Any adjustments to the agenda?
No, we'll just keep it.
Okay. Select board comments, anybody?
Yeah, I have a letter that was sent to, was addressed to myself and Karen and the select board members that I'd like to read. It's from Irene Canaris. It says, "Dear Karen and select board members, thank you for recognizing the efforts being done to create a welcoming place of refuge at Pierce's Hall. As I said during town meeting, and what did I say at town meeting? The restoration of Pierce's Hall is truly a community effort. We hope to welcome more attendees to more events in the future that mirror the needs of our town. Please let us know when you'd like a visit. With great appreciation, Irene."
Very nice. All right, approval of minutes.
I make a motion for a field trip. Let's go to Pierce's Hall.
Approval of the minutes of March 5th.
Move to approve the minutes of March 5th, 2025 as drafted.
Second.
Any changes?
No.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Warrants to the treasurer. Any motion?
I move to approve and execute the warrants to the treasurer upon completion of review.
Second.
Second. You know me? dated March 21st, 2025, in the amount of $19,944.47. No overtime for the highway department. We do have the rec league director on this warrant. They're paid once a month. All set?
I don't have any questions.
Moving on. Accounts payable warrant dated March 8th through March 21st, 2025, in the amount of $192,895.13. So on this warrant, you will see Powers. That is for the 2 generators that have been installed, one at the wastewater treatment plant and the other one is at the well pump building on Sand Hill. We do have a grant that will pay for most of this expense, but generators are in. I've contacted Irving because we have to change out the tanks. So the tank at the wastewater treatment plant needs to be 1,000 gallons and the one on Sand Hill has to be 50. I mean 500, sorry, 500. They're big generators. They're big, but
You might not know the answer. Why the difference in oil? It's oil, right?
yeah, because one is I want to say it's 100 kilowatt, and then the other one's like 40.
Oh, they're different sizes.
Yeah, they're different sizes.
And Karen, where did the grant come from for that?
It's a FEMA grant, hazard mitigation, and it's obligated to us, so there's no risk. And as soon as I get the propane hooked up, then I'll request reimbursement. Yeah, so Powers was $71,037.23. One other thing I want to mention to the board this evening is that the Green Mountain Power credits have run out. So we had a 10-year agreement. And what's going to happen is there's about $15,000 that will go back into budgets to cover those credits.
That's something we can renegotiate, or it's just done?
I'm in contact with Morgan Casella to see how to move forward with that. But community solar sounds good.
Mm-hmm.
But I will bring that back to the board.
Karen, can you explain? I don't understand when you say we had credits, what does that mean?
So
Credits from where?
we have an agreement with Opal. It used to be Green Lantern when the solar array was built in Westminster. So we bought into that through the agreement.
Uh-huh.
And then we were allowed a certain amount of credits for like 148,500 kilowatts.
Right, okay.
And the credit was 6 cents, so 0.06 on that 148,500 kilowatts.
Yeah.
So that's going back into our budget unless we can get another agreement. But, and that was offered through Green Mountain Power. I don't know if it's going to continue. I have no This is new to me, so. And the biggest impact will be the wastewater treatment plant, which is user fee based, and it will be on the users. Any other questions on this large? Some of these are monthly contracts, like Simon's, Southwest Mutual Aid. That is a calendar year expense. So half will be billed to this fiscal year. The other half's gonna be billed to the next fiscal year, starting July 1st. Southwest Mutual Aid is $37,864.
Who got the new computers?
I have a new computer and the town clerk has a new computer. All stations will be receiving new computers within the next year because the operations Windows is the ones we have are expiring and they won't be able to be updated.
Do that.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to spread that out over the next year. But it ends in October.
Normally there's like a 7-year cycle for computer equipment.
Yeah, we're on a 5-year.
Okay.
But
5 to 7, but if we're like, I mean, if we're, might be good to stagger them if you can, like have them done, one every year.
yeah, no, we've been doing
Not
that,
spending a lot of money
but, sometimes we take and just replace the hard drive and
Yeah.
not replace the whole computer,
Mhm.
because they're like $1,100. And then you gotta buy the software, the Office 365, and it's just, it's a racket.
I know. I know all about
They
that
get you
racket.
coming and going.
Okay.
Any comments in the room, online, about the warrants? All in favor?
Aye.
Back to you, Karen.
Oh, it's my turn again? Wow, alright, so I'm gonna try to be quick, cause I have quite a bit here. Reminder, March 22nd, which is Saturday, is the Select Board Essentials. And you can Zoom if you like, and I really encourage this board to take that training. Also, Select Board goal setting, schedule and location. I'm gonna do a doodle poll, some various dates, evenings, weekends, for goal setting, prioritizing policies and ordinances. But we definitely need a work session. And I'm happy to say that everyone is now using their town email accounts. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Highway Department, so Lenny and I will be meeting with V-Trans on March 26th next week to go over Putney projects and complete the V-Trans financial report. It's an annual report. Basically, it allows us to go after certain grants if we're due for a grant. So it can be paving or structures, but they're also helpful with getting us hydraulic reports and different, turning us on to other grants. Met with Lenny this week, talking about Parkman Wood Road culvert replacement. We're gonna get the request for proposal for bid out We anticipate startup by May and hope to see the project completed by August. The box culvert is being made and we should see it in about 6 weeks. So that also is a FEMA grant and that is obligated and we're not at any risk to lose that money. So
Karen, just a question.
sure.
When you say it's obligated, so we're not at any risk, can you elaborate on that? Because it seems like the federal government has pulled grants that they had
That have been
previously
obligated, yeah.
obligated, so.
Yeah, so I've already been in touch with the state of Vermont, my contact, and he's like, no, you're good, the money is there, move forward with the
So
project.
it means that the state has the money?
Yeah, so
So the state has the money in hand
yeah,
and we don't have to worry about the federal government?
no,
Okay.
no, we're good on that project.
Okay.
And the generators. So I emailed the parties regarding the Carpenter Pit lease agreement, so everyone is on board. They're gonna reach back out to us. Lenny and I are meeting with Lee Chamberlain on Friday in Dummerston to move forward with a request for proposal for blasting. There's a lot going on right now. Lenny, where's Lenny? Do you wanna add anything else? I know we didn't cover everything, but.
That's the gist of what we're gonna be working on for the next couple weeks at least. And just for the daily operations for the highway department, we're just starting to see some mud, so we'll be working on mud spots, try to make them better if we can. Fortunately, some spots we won't fix right off because we'll worsen the road to trying to fix that one spot, and staying off is better than trying to fix that one spot. So, been grading some dry areas on different roads, try to get rid of the potholes. And we're working around town to try to make the dirt roads the best we can.
All right. Thank you, Lenny. Property taxes to collect for 2024. So the balance is $324,436.66. Delinquent prior years, $84,476.75. So, it's a bit higher than normal,
Higher, yeah.
probably by half. We'll see,
Twice?
yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So we'll see what happens. But this right here is a perfect reason why we need to have that fund in case we don't collect taxes.
How stale are some of these tax bills?
Well, the $84,000 is, those I'll be looking at to potentially send a tax sale. But 1 year in arrears, Fletcher, I don't look at that.
General rule is you don't go after somebody till year 2, but that's usually after they haven't kept their word on a repayment agreement.
Right. So the new tax law is that we have to offer the tax agreement. And, if they default, then we can send them to tax sale.
Well, we always have done that anyway, haven't we? We've always given them
There's
an
a-
opportunity to catch up.
Yes, but there's a new process.
There's a new state law.
Yes. So, but I'll know more probably April, May, what that list looks like. Let's see. Proposals went out today for lawn services, so basically cemeteries and public town properties for lawn mowing, fall and spring cleanup. So those will be due back April 10th. Let's see, what else? I'm working with various groups in town too. Landmark College, Yellow Barn. Housing Task Force. There's different projects happening right now, and people are trying to figure out what they want to do with their property. And there's some trust building going on in town, and we're very busy with a lot of different meetings. I met with Discover Putney Subcommittee on the welcome signs, so we're gonna be moving that project forward. Met with the fire department, we're gonna be doing some work with them. I'm gonna be doing some work with them. It's all positive, it'll be productive, and there's a lot going on right now. And I will be on vacation April 4th through the 11th.
What's coming up?
It is coming up.
Not fast enough, she says.
Not I'm counting the days, because let me tell you, I am just like, yeah, it's crazy right now. Renew Town Hall, we've had 2 meetings. That process is moving forward. We have some floor plans that, first and second floor that we're probably almost going to finalize. The schematic design will get finished. We're still waiting on the survey. I don't know what's going on. I've got the architect column. It's kind of holding up the site plan process, but by April 25th, we should have a cost estimate for renovation of the building. And we also are going to be meeting with Peter Rood, our funding source, who's helping us with our funding stack, and we're going to know what that looks like too.
Okay.
So, meetings. That's all I have.
That's it? You said it's gonna be short.
I tried. I tried.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, Charlie. I know I kept you longer than I wanted to.
Karen,
Yes.
Karen, I have a question, and I'm probably gonna ask this at every meeting. I just would love it if we could fold into the town manager's report, just an update on anything that's any way in which things that are happening at the federal level are trickling down that you're aware of at the town level.
Yeah. Well, right now I'm not seeing anything. I'm hearing things. So I know the state libraries, money's being clawed back from the libraries. I got one today. It's going to happen with highways. I don't know what that means yet. So those reserve funds are there for a reason, and this is why. So am I getting a little nervous? Maybe. But I don't know what I don't know, and we're just going to have to wait and see, Peg.
So are you saying that it hasn't impacted our library at this point, or our highways at this point?
Not at this very moment.
Okay, I mean, we don't know.
Right.
I think it would be really good to just keep, have that be kind of part of the town manager report of just what is there, are we starting to feel these things?
Yeah. Another resource is VLCT. They do like weekly reports. So I've been going over there and trying to see what's happening, but as soon as I know, you'll know.
Thank you.
Any public comment on the town manager's report? All right, moving on, select board new business. Turn it over to Charlie from ReArch about the Alice Holoway Drive closure.
Hello, everyone. I guess what I've been asked to come here and talk about is the temporary closure of Alice Holoway Drive, where we build the 2 buildings for Windham Housing Trust. The plan duration's like 12 months, but it's not a permanent close, so I won't be putting any kind of Jersey barriers and blocking traffic. The intent is to block traffic during work hours. And, it's for safety reasons to keep keep the public out because it's encompassing both sides of Alice Holoway Drive and construction vehicles back and forth, in and out of both sides of that. We feel it's the right thing to do for the public, just in general, in the traffic wise, even people walking through there. It just makes a lot of sense. It also keeps the construction contained to the one end and the public on the other side. Is there any questions? What have people seen already? Has anybody seen anything?
They have these,
Yeah, I
Charlie,
have
so.
yeah, so you're saying during work hours, so I assume that's like Monday through Friday, 8 to 5 or something to that effect, so,
No, probably like 6 to 6.
okay, but set in the, during the weekdays.
Yeah.
And so it wouldn't necessarily affect the farmer's market traffic or,
Right, so I talked with, have been in contact with everybody that would be affected by this. So both the buses, right, the mover, the school bus folks, the co-op, the community garden, and the food bank. And everybody except the food bank has found a workaround for it, that it's not gonna be a problem for them. Being open, so what I would close it off with is type 3 barricades, and they're easily moved, 2 people, even 1 person can move them. And so I fully plan on having to go back and set them up every day, because someone's gonna move them after we're gone.
okay. Have they talked about deliveries?
So the co-op is all set.
Co-op's all set with
Yes.
deliveries and they've got
So
something.
the food bank, I've been
Yeah.
talking with Hannah Pick.
Mhm.
I referred her to, we were thinking the park and ride, but they won't do it because of the federal highway and there's some agreement because they're so close to the highway or something. I just don't want to get it. I'm like,
We totally need that back.
so anyway, I referred her to Landmark College.
Okay.
Because as we know, Landmark purchased 78 River Road, 5 Maples, so that might be a good location
Yeah,
for the food bank, short term.
a little off the beaten path, but sure.
Yeah. So, it'll be one way onto Carroll Brown from Route 5.
Mhm.
Select board ought to think about maybe 3-way stop signs at, the end of Carroll Brown and on Route 5. But the co-op seems to feel they're fine with their deliveries and the truck going out, the opposite way, so.
So Charlie, you're gonna keep it, it's gonna be closed, you're not gonna open it up at night, let traffic through, or the weekends, you're gonna leave it closed for,
We can open it up.
you can.
Yeah, I mean, that's the ability. That's why we're just using the type 3 barricades
Yeah.
to do that.
Okay.
I mean, I think
That
it's
doesn't sound so
specifically on
bad.
the weekends that, the farmer's market's
Especially
just
in
really
summer.
busy, yeah. That would be good to have it open during the weekend anyway.
So I have a question. So if there's any open trenches or anything like that, would you keep the road closed?
Yeah, if there are open trenches, they're, overnight, that's gonna have Jersey barriers protecting all of that.
Right.
But I don't anticipate having the public way with open trenches in there.
So it's a liability and a risk not only to the town, but to, the construction company if it remains open. So if it's a year or less, right, Charlie?
12 months. That's all we
mean-
anticipate.
Is it an impact to leave it closed?
You mean altogether, not open it up in the evenings or
Right.
weekends?
Right.
Yeah, I think it is an impact on the
I think
weekends.
it's a benefit to be able to open it on weekends, that's
Yeah.
huge.
I mean, not necessarily during the week, is if the deliveries are working fine. I don't see a reason why we need to keep it open, but the weekends are really busy and people use that road for parking. So I feel like that would be important to have it open during that time.
So where the type 3 barricades wouldn't go, they'd be back at where the property line is for this project. So all of those parking spaces, or nearly all of them, would be still available on the right-hand side there, closer to First Putney.
Should we see how it works? See how
Yeah, I mean, if they can open it on weekends and, evenings, I think it sounds good. Are they paying for the extra stop signs and stuff to put up? They're gonna cover cost?
If the stop signs are necessary up there, we'll figure out a way.
We've been talking about traffic calming on that road anyway, so
We
Maybe
get some free
now-
stop signs.
right, maybe now's a good time.
I think it's only 2, right?
It would be
There's
two,
one
it would be
there,
two
yeah.
stop sign, yeah, on either side, yeah. Yeah,
What a deal.
so we have to vote for specific times, or can we just, because we have to vote to close the road, right?
You're the board and you.
Yeah, but I mean, do we have to vote for specific times, or can we just say close the road?
And open it back up when they're done, in the evenings and on the weekends. Cause
How
they might work
specific-
later. they
How
might
specific
work-
does the
yeah.
motion have to be is what I'm asking. We don't know, okay.
I think it's to make it as, so they can close the road and keep it closed as long as they need, during the workday and.
When is the beginning? When was the beginning date?
Yeah, I don't plan on actually closing it until, like, the earliest would be like the 20th of April.
20th of April?
Yes.
Until
A year later.
April 2026,
Yeah.
from 6 to 6, weekdays.
There's gonna be some weekend work, just so there's no surprises, so. I can't tell you when that's gonna be, but inevitably every job has it.
Alright, and weekends.
Can we say that it will be closed down for a year, open
We'll
when
take care of our side.
construction allows for, instead of saying,
I don't think we can put times on it.
instead of, when it's gonna be closed,
Closed.
say that it will be
Open.
open when
When,
construction and safety allow for passage or something. I don't know, something. You're good at that.
thanks a lot. Open.
I get the concept, you get the words.
Yes, okay. Open when, I don't like that. How's this for a motion? I make a motion to close, is Carol Brown? No, it's Alice Holway.
Alice Holoway.
I make a motion to close Alice Holway Drive beginning April 20th, 2026 at 6 a.m. until April 20th, 2026. Open when safety allows.
Not the very end of that, it's 65.
That works.
It's general.
Who's authorized to open it? You said like 2 strong or 1 highly motivated person.
So the reason why I'm using the type 3 barricades is that in an emergency situation, right, anybody can go and move them. Right?
Yes.
But I wouldn't like, I can speak to that. We don't want the general public doing that, right? So there'll be a sign on those barricades that says road closed, right? And so we don't want the general public coming out and just opening it and going through, right? So that's gonna stop most of the honest people, right? They won't come through. If there was an emergency, easily 2 people can go out, even 1 rugged person can go out and just move those barricades. It's like the size of a sawhorse, that's what it looks like, okay? So someone could go and move that. This young lady just brought up the medevac H that is there. It's already been discontinued, contacted DART to take care of that, and so there won't be any helicopters landing there. They're looking for a new spot. Maybe it's already been brought up at a previous meeting.
Not yet. Lenny and I are working on that. Well, I should say Lenny's working on it.
Another designated spot.
Yeah, we're looking at the town highway garage, because there is a flat area down there. So Lenny's working with his contact. Because there is more than
a landmark.
Yeah. They can pretty much land anywhere
Certain spots.
where it's flat and there's no, wires, but,
Yeah.
The big thing was the winter. It was open, it was maintained.
right,
Yeah.
so.
Well, can we have an understanding with you though, that your folks will open it up on Friday when they're done, if it's passable, if it's safe to pass through, so on weekends people can use it?
Yes.
Okay.
Any other discussion or public comment? Sue?
I just think communication with the community will be really key here, so people understand this arrangement. It was complicated for us to understand here. Pedestrians, bikes, cars, I think it needs to all be really clear what's allowed and what's not allowed, and signage, so that remind people about that. So who is going to do that? I just think something on the town website, so people can know about it, some kind of notice. This is going to affect a lot of people. It's workable, but people just need to know and feel noticed about it. And there's plenty of time to do it, the whole month, so that's great for people to understand that. And so that's my only comment is, who has that responsibility and how's that going to be done? I think it's real important to do it.
I think it probably a combined responsibility between the town and Windham Windsor Housing Trust.
And the contractors.
Because it's our road, so we should
Right.
notify the.
No, we'll make sure people are notified, and I'm sure we can field some questions, and we'll get something on the website, Facebook.
Yeah, maybe some FAQs or something, can I walk my dog there, whatever.
Right.
Janice?
Hi there, thank you. Can you hear me okay? I wasn't sure.
Yeah.
Thank you. Just an observation. I heard you say that, there may be times when you're going to have to close it on the weekend. I'd just like you to be aware of the farmers market hours, days, and it's from May through October. If there's any way that you can consider that time not to be a time when you need to close the whole road off, because it really will kill the market, because they do need the parking area there.
Okay. And that's on Sundays, right, Janice?
On Sundays, yes. I don't know, 11 to 3, I think.
Yeah, that sounds right.
And your setup time.
Right. Yeah, so it's
On a Sunday, and for the most part, that's not an issue, but you did say that, there might be some times when you need to do that. So just keeping aware that would be a tough time to do it.
Yeah, it would be a Saturday. There wouldn't be any. If it's a Sunday work, it's not gonna be in the road.
Okay. Well, it would be good to be aware of those times to minimize the angst as much as possible. So,
No other questions? Got your motion?
what was the extra piece that we put in there when I said open when safety allows? Was it something else?
By then,
Hmm?
that they will be opening it. I don't know if that was.
By ReArch? Okay, so I make a motion to close Alice Holoway Drive beginning April 20th, 2025 at 6 a.m. April 20th, 2026, 6 p.m. To be open by ReArch when safety allows.
All in favor? Aye.
Yeah, so.
Okay, thank you.
We'll be in touch. Lenny, you handle that.
Reappointment of boards and commissions.
So in your packet is a copy of the appointment policy as a reminder. So there is a slate for March. There's 2 pages of appointments for Housing Advisory Committee, Conservation Commission, DRB, Equity and Inclusion, Planning Commission, Wilson Wetlands, Fence Viewers, Health Officer, Surveyor of Wood and Lumber, Tree Warden, Deputy Tree Warden, Weir of Coal, Connecticut River Joint Commission, DV Fiber, Rescue Inc., SEVCA, Windham Regional, and, well, no, not Windham Regional yet.
Yeah, that shouldn't be on there, right?
No.
As a slate.
No,
Okay.
that's not part of the slate. And Windham Solid Waste is not part of the slate, but the rest are. These people have been confirmed by Rachel Ryan. She reached out to each person, so they have committed to be reappointed.
So I make a motion to appoint the slate of positions with the exception of the Windham Regional Commission, which we'll deal with separately.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So in your packet also is a summary of the boards, committees, and commissions with vacancies still. We are gonna fill a few of those vacancies tonight with the next item. But I just wanna put that out there, we're still looking for volunteers.
Windham Regional Commission appointment.
So in your packet is the job description for the Windham Regional Commissioner. There is a letter of interest that has been circulated to the select board from Dan Toomey, who is in the room tonight. And the notice of appointment to Windham Regional Commission, which needs to be signed by the select board chair, is also in your packet. I'm not sure if somebody wants to read Dan's letter into record or not.
I'll read it.
Sure.
This was dated on February 26, 2025. Members of the Select Board. I would like to be appointed as Putney's representative to the Windham Regional Commission. My work as the town's representative to the Windham Solid Waste Management District over many years has given me a broad understanding of much that makes the region attractive to both residents and visitors. It has also given me an understanding of the challenges the region faces, challenges that seem to be forever evolving. A lengthy one-sentence job description of a WRC commissioner, taken from our town report, is as follows. Each commissioner represents their town's interests within a regional context before the commission, brings information from the commission back to the town, and serves on at least one of a number of WRC committees that address regional and municipal issues and concerns. The Waste District operates similarly, with each representative serving not only their town, but also acting in a supervisory role, overseeing the work of the district as a whole. This is to say that I'm already part of an organization having a similar structure to the WRC, and so I feel I would be at home working within it. To me, their most obvious difference is that while the Waste District's focus is limited to the management of solid waste, recycling, hazardous materials collection, and, increasingly, composting, the Windham Regional Commission assists with a far wider range of concerns and needs, all of which I am curious to learn more about. The ability to communicate clearly is an essential skill in working in local governance. A lot of my work for the Waste District has been around writing. As chair of the Policy and Personnel Committee, I led an ad hoc committee that completed an extensive revision of the district's policy and personnel handbook. We had, in that important effort, the generous assistance of the staff of the Vermont League of Cities and Towns. At about the same time, we updated all of our district's job descriptions. In some years prior to these efforts, I noted that many of the new town representatives coming on board understood little about how the district was organized or what their responsibilities would be. I decided that a supervisor's manual would be in order, so I wrote one. We are at present working on updating it. The Windham Regional Commission works in an advisory capacity, and its relationship with towns is inherently collaborative. This approach in working toward the betterment of our town and region is very appealing to me. I ask the Select Board to please consider me for the position of Putney's representative to the Windham Regional Commission. Respectfully, Dan Toomey.
You wanna say anything, Dan? Or add?
I don't think I have anything more to add right now.
Well, I make a motion to appoint Dan Toomey to the WRC as our town representative and authorize Eric to sign.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Dan, for stepping up.
Thanks, Dan.
There's still one other seat open.
Yeah.
And this is a very important organization to be involved with. And again, I want to say thank you. And I'm hoping somebody else is going to step up.
Be good to have two.
Yes,
Be good to have two for the Waste District as well.
yes. Yeah.
Thank you for serving as well.
Yeah.
Alright, Windham Solid Waste Management District reappointment.
I think we already did that
Is that-
as part of the slate.
That's part of the slate?
Yeah.
No, I thought it was.
No,
The last, no, it's not.
But it's all separate.
Okay.
it was on that slate, but
You eliminated
it needs a signature
Oh, I see.
for appointment.
All right, well, I make a motion to appoint Dan Toomey to the Windham Solid Waste Management District and authorize Eric to sign it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I have a quick question. Who notifies the WRC? Would you
So-
do that? or-
Yes, I'll do that, once the paperwork's signed. Yeah, they'll have all your information, it's on the form. Okay,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Fire Department Reserve Fund, draft policy. Are you Karen or?
No, it's Fletcher.
I think it's actually the Emergency Services Reserve Fund.
That is,
It's both fire.
It is, yep,
Um,
my bad.
this
That fire
is-
department keeps getting me.
This is the policy to implement the authority we were given by the town meeting to establish this reserve fund. I'm going to read out what it is.
Can you speak up too?
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm having a hard time hearing you, and I'm sure people in the back of the room.
Well, turn up the speaker. You want me to read this through?
Yeah.
Yes.
Town of Putney Emergency Services, Fire and EMS Reserve Fund Policy. Purpose: the Select Board of the Town of Putney agrees that sound fiscal management requires that sufficient funds be maintained by the town for the Emergency Services, Fire and EMS Department. Maintaining such funds will help sustain the stability of the town tax rate and reduce the need for short-term borrowing. Objective: upon recommendation of the Select Board on March 4, 2025, voters of the town authorized establishment of a reserve fund in accordance with 24 VSA Section 2804. The Select Board's objective is for adequate funds to be set aside in this reserve fund and that this money is not spent on regular town expenditures or is used to reduce property taxes. Reserve fund expenditures. The reserve fund was established by the voters for the purpose of purchasing or leasing emergency service vehicles and equipment, construction and/or improvements of emergency service buildings, repair and maintenance of vehicles and equipment. To this end, the Select Board will only use reserve funds for the purposes listed herein. Any expenditure of reserve fund by the Select Board for such purposes shall require approval of a majority of the Select Board members at a duly warned Select Board meeting. In accordance with 24 VSA 2804A, expenditure of the reserve funds for any other purpose shall require the authorization of a majority of the voters present at an annual or special town meeting. And then the foregoing policy is hereby adopted.
Short and sweet.
Pretty direct, but just a way to get that fund off the ground, which to my mind has been a long time coming. We needed to have this for a long time.
Right.
So we got expenses coming at us that we know we need to build up money for.
I just want to make a comment. So a donation has already been made to this reserve account in the amount of $5,000. It has been set up, and I also mentioned at town meeting that the special fund 330 in June will see the balance, and I will request the Select Board to move that money into this reserve fund as well. There is potential to have revenue streams that also can go into this reserve fund.
Like the highway fees that we're talking about.
Third-party billing
That's what
for
I mean.
accidents, yes.
Yeah.
And anything else, donations, contributions from schools.
When you say donation of 5,000, that was our appropriation at town meeting.
No, this
No,
is
this
an
is
additional
independent.
$5,000.
Cool. That's nice.
And, yeah, I mean, so I'm just gonna say that Fletcher Proctor donated $5,000 to this account. So,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I believe strongly the town needs this.
I have a question about, so does that mean this account could, if there were fundraising something or other by the fire association,
yes.
the money from that could go into this account?
They could direct it to that.
They could direct it to
Yeah,
this
I
account.
think so.
If
Is
they
that-
wanted to.
If they wanted to, right, yeah,
Right.
of course.
Otherwise, here's the thing, so anything like that would generally go into the general fund. We may want to consider that revenue streams and name them in here once they're established.
Yeah, I was wondering whether that work we did on insurance reimbursement for whatever we could get from, insurance available when we respond to like car accidents on the interstate,
Right.
whether we could make that policy also include a provision that anything we get in goes into this
Goes to
fund.
this.
So there is a fire reimbursement policy or ordinance, I can't remember, ordinance. So that needs to be updated, and maybe that's where we outline revenue streams to move into this reserve fund.
Yeah.
That's not where I would go to look for it, though, because I see reimbursement as different than, reimbursement is only one kind of revenue stream, right? There,
Wouldn't hurt to have both of them say where they're
right, but,
Yeah.
but I would just want to, I think, I agree with you that putting it in this would be useful, I think, in this policy, where the.
Once we have that, yeah.
Yeah,
revenue
Once
stream.
it's established, yes.
I think this fund will take money from anywhere.
and I think we could just.
No, Fletcher, it doesn't work that way.
Could spend it.
So we wanna make a motion to adopt this?
Please.
So,
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Select board rules of procedure review and approval.
That's Fletcher too.
Yeah, that's the one that, you should have one that says 2025 on it, because there started to be too many different copies flying around, so that's to distinguish it as the one that we're adopting now. And it sort of reorganizes the whole, you also, on the table when you came in, it was the existing one. This tried to make it more logical progression of what's happening, what it applies to, the organization of the board, which I don't think I need to read through all of this unless you really want me to. But, you know, as we know, chair, vice chair, chair provides vice chair in absence. Most of this isn't really new. It's mostly rearranged. The place where it gets new really is in the conduct of the meeting, which is on the second page, section F. That's been toned down a little from what was really a full-bore Robert's Rules approach to running a meeting. It's one of the things that puzzled me off the bat, because Robert's Rules is really designed for a mass meeting. Robert's Rules does have within it a provision, a section on small meetings, which it defines as meetings of groups of less than 12, which we are. And the rules that are now, that are in this proposed policy are taken from that section of Robert's Rules. So since that's a change, I might read through that. Conduct of meeting, the first part's the same. Board is required by law to conduct its meetings in accordance with the Vermont Open Meeting Law, 1 VSA sections 310 to 314. Meetings of the board must be open to the public at all times, except as provided in 1 VSA section 313, which is the executive session section. The chair shall preserve order in the meeting and shall require its proceedings and shall regulate its proceedings by applying these rules and making determinations about all questions of order or procedure. A majority of the board members shall constitute a quorum. If a quorum of all members of the board is not present at a meeting, no meeting shall take place. Board members will raise a hand when seeking to obtain the floor and may remain seated while making motions or speaking. Motions made by members of the board do not require a second. That's a change. The chair may make motions. That's also, it's not customary that the chair make changes under regular Roberts, but the small meeting provision says that. And may vote on all questions before the board. I think customarily under Roberts, the chair only votes to break a tie. But in small boards, the chair can vote if they choose to. A motion will pass if it receives votes of a majority of the members of the board present at the meeting. There's no limit on the number of times a member may speak to a debatable question. Appeals of rulings by the chair, however, are debatable under the regular rules. That is, each member except the chair can speak only once in debate on them, while the chair may speak twice. Informal discussion of a subject is permitted while no motion is pending. When a proposal is perfectly clear to all present, a vote can be taken without a motion's having been introduced. I think of that as like when we're all ready to adjourn. We don't make sure we have to have a motion. That's the simplest example. Unless agreed to by unanimous consent, however, all proposed actions must be approved by vote under the same rules as in larger meetings, except that a vote can be taken initially by a show of hands, which is often a better method in small meetings. The chair need not rise when putting questions to a vote. Well, we don't do that anyway, so. Any member of the board may request a roll call vote pursuant to 1 VSA section 312A2 when one or more members attend a meeting electronically. A roll call vote is required for votes that are not unanimous. By majority vote of the board, a meeting may be recessed to a time and place certain. The final portion is the public participation in board meetings rules. And these are somewhat different than what's presently on the books, so maybe I should read through those as well. Public participation in board meetings. Governance of the town is ultimately vested in the people of Putney. The town's people take direct control of that government each year at town meeting. On that day, the people come together to discuss with each other and their elected representatives the issues confronting the town. At that time, the people also elect those representatives to the board and entrust the management of the town's affairs to it for the ensuing year. However, much can change and new issues can arise during the course of the year. The people of the town need the opportunity during the year to communicate directly with their representatives and their neighbors about issues that have arisen since town meeting. Within limits, board meetings provide an opportunity for those discussions. The necessary limits are those that allow for an orderly management of discussion, much like the rules that apply to town meeting, and that allow the board the time and latitude necessary to accomplish town business. With these thoughts in mind, the board hereby adopts the following rules for public participation in meetings. 1, each regular meeting of the board shall include time for public comments on items not specifically on the agenda for that meeting, but relevant to matters within the board's authority. In addition to this general comment time, at the conclusion of discussion of each item on the board's agenda for that meeting, and before any action is taken by the board, time shall be allowed for public comment on the item. 2, public comments at board meetings should be intended to inform the board and the public about issues and the speaker's perspective on them, but not necessarily to prompt a debate of them. Consequently, public comment should be addressed to the chair or to the board and not to any individual member of the board or of the public. 3, a member of the public wishing to speak should raise their hand and be recognized by the chair before speaking. 4, order and decorum should be observed by all persons present at the meeting. Members of the public should not interrupt any person while they are speaking, other than for the purpose of maintaining order and ensuring that the discussion remains focused. Members of the board should also not interrupt any person while they are speaking. Neither members of the board nor members of the public may make personal, rude, or threatening remarks directed at any speaker, member of the public, or member of the board. 5, if necessary, to allow the board the time it needs to handle business immediately pending before it, the chair may limit the time for public discussion and/or require that further discussion be focused on issues germane to items already on the agenda. 6, if necessary to maintain an orderly discussion, the chair may call the meeting to order and may remind members of the need for decorum. If the meeting will not come to order, the chair may declare a recess, table the issue then under discussion, or adjourn the meeting to a time and date certain. So I think the substance of the idea of conducting and regulating a meeting is still pretty much the same, but some of the procedures have been made a little less formal, and some of the presentation is hopefully a little more welcoming.
everybody want some time to think this over and go through it? And-
Yeah, I would,
I mean,
I think that, there's some good stuff in this, and, some of the wording changes, but I do think that we need to adopt our current rules of procedure while we wait on this one, just so that we have a current adopted procedure, so that everybody knows that we're under a certain procedure until we move to another one. But I think this would be a great thing for a working meeting to go through it and really.
I don't think that our current rules were suspended until
We're
we
supposed
adopt
to
this.
readopt new ones every year. We don't have to, but we're supposed to.
I think there's lots of interesting, useful things in here. It took me an hour to sit with the previous ones and compare them to this one. It was not an easy task. And so I do think we need more time, because unless everybody else took that same amount of time to compare them. And there are some things that are different, and I'd love to discuss them. But I don't think we can really discuss them until everybody really gets a chance to do that comparison. And some of it's just wordsmithing, and that is better done, I think, in work session. If we're gonna have.
We're having one soon, right?
I'm gonna do a doodle poll,
Okay.
so
We should put this as a priority on there.
it'll probably be after I get back from vacation. Unless you wanna try to
That's-
squeeze one in.
Actually, not that far from now.
Yeah.
You're going on vacation very soon.
I am coming back.
Okay.
But
That's what you
does
say
that
now.
work for you, Fletcher? Does that work for you? If we kind
Yeah.
of give it more time, the time it's due.
In fact,
I think there's really interesting things here that have to do with, like our philosophy as a board, and I would love to have a chance to kind of talk about that. When it's not the only thing, when it's not just one of many, many things, but is something that we really give attention to.
Okay, so we're gonna table this
But not just table it, but table it and add it.
and
We're
add
adding
it
it
to
to
a.
the
Yeah,
next,
to the work
very next work section.
Okay.
Session.
So priority number one.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's what I think.
Anything else about it? Good.
Somebody has a hand up.
Swift?
Hi, I just wanted to make a public comment of just thank you for doing a deep dive into the I don't know the title it is, our procedures, because it's definitely been something in the past on the equity committee's radar of having something that's so strict and rigid and has all these guidelines can feel exclusive. And I heard, and because I didn't have it in front of me, I wasn't able to really look deeply at it, but I heard something that felt a bit more open and less rigid in what you're presenting. So appreciated your work on it, Fletcher. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any public comment in the room or Peggy?
Yeah, I just wanted to really encourage Swift, you and your committee, to provide some more, more feedback on ways that you think we could be more inclusive when it comes to procedures, and, kind of maybe think about doing that before or have somebody maybe come to that work. I mean, that work session is open. It's not
the meeting, so yeah.
If you don't want to come, but that you might provide us some suggestions or something like that.
I'll do my best. We're fair goings right now, but thank you.
Okay.
Alright. Nothing under old business, so we'll move on to boards, committees, and commissions. Fire and Rescue Task Force. Is that you, Len?
Ruby.
Oh.
So Ruby is gonna present this report, on behalf of the committee. Welcome, Ruby.
Hi, sorry everyone, I'm not in the room. It just wasn't in the cards with my kids today. But thank you for considering this report. And I don't know who else is in the room, but as you can see in the report, there is a section that kind of lists who the members are. We were a pretty robust group of really active individuals, and thank you for for appointing us to the task force. As you can see, what's been presented, we spent many months meeting regularly and gathering information to try to assemble into something that would be helpful for you as a select board as you move forward and make decisions around the structure of the department, leadership, and make decisions like that. And so what I think our vision was to present the report to you today, and with the assumption that, of course, field questions from you or from the public, if there are any now, but ultimately give you an opportunity to review it and chew on it, and then call anyone on the committee or call the task force back if you do have further questions. Peg was on this task force, and a number of individuals were relatively regularly there, and so that's basically my preamble. I don't know if anyone has any questions, or if there is anyone else on the task force who's in the room who wants to chime in. I was kind of, we decided to have me come to present it, but I'm not the only person who participated in this process. So hopefully others can chime in if needed.
So we do have other members here in the room. Ruby? Mm-hmm. Brian, if you want to just pan around. Here we are.
Hello. Yeah. And, I think that the gist of the report is that, I would say we did quite a bit of work to try to pull current and past members of the department to try to gather kind of thoughts on leadership structure particularly. And I can't say, I believe that we weren't really able to see, I think we were all hoping for some kind of clarity around a recommendation. But where we landed was really, we needed to present you with kind of the considerations, some considerations for the various options of leadership, for example. But we weren't able to say clearly, this is what we think makes sense. I think our recommendation as it landed was to continue with the existing leadership structure, which involves having an interim leader in chief, and continue that kind of structure for, I think we suggested essentially through the fall, and that would give the select board a more a greater amount of data in terms of number of calls, the cost, things like that, which we think would be critically important to kind of the decision-making process.
Thank you, Ruby. That was great.
I also wanted to say, or just draw people's attention to, although this advisory committee did not, or this advisory task force did not land on a recommendation for leadership structure, there were a number of recommendations that we did come to some pretty clear consensus on. And so as people read the report, you know, maybe focusing on that, because I think some of those recommendations will, I'm expecting that I or maybe others will be bringing some of those to the select board to consider the recommendations that we were pretty clear about.
Yeah. Can I just thank you, Peg, for framing it that way? And so when you look through the report, and there is a section at the end that highlights those recommendations that Peg's talking about. So that would be where to focus. That's the culmination of what we as a task force can kind of present and put forth. The other thing that I would kind of flag, one of the appendices is, I don't have it in front of me, but I think it's called AP Triton Dispositions. It's essentially, I think it's 3 or 4 pages of kind of in a grid format that is the product of Daniel's work, who's an EMT in a fire department volunteer. He led the task force in kind of reviewing and going through the AP Triton report and pulling out kind of tasks and items that need doing, and identifying them and color coding them in terms of things that we we felt like the task force was, could do and could focus on versus some other entity or group. What might be something further down the line, or what might be something that would happen once chief is, determined. So that work was really kind of, I think, vital to the work of the task force in terms of developing, and kind of like moving us forward. But we also, I think, recognized that work was actually done, I think, in like November of last year. And so actually things likely have gone forward, and there might be things that need updating on that kind of grid. But we are happy to share, and I know that's like Peg and Karen have access to the file that Daniel used that we pulled that grid from, because it's a tool that could be useful moving forward. And so that's just something I want to flag and make sure everyone's aware of.
Thank you. Anything from anybody? No?
Thanks for slogging this out and coming up with, I know some of the recommendations are not, set in, 100% set in stone, clear recommendations, but this, I know you did a lot of work, and this is a lot of, you boiled it down very clearly, and the recommendations that you did come out with, I think we can work with these. So I just thank you to everyone who worked on that task force. This is definitely moving us in the right direction.
Thank you.
So I just want to make a comment. So we do have a current model in place right now, today. It's been in place since May of last year. We do have a part-time interim chief, and we've been working, learning, about software programs that, that only one person was, doing all the work. So we have some work to do, but I'm confident that we're going to build this model, and some of these recommendations and the AP Triton, recommendations are going to fall off the list. We're already preparing to, move this to the next level. I've already had several different conversations with different people at the department. I'm working with outside sources. I think time will tell. And I just want to thank the department, both fire and EMS, for showing up and being involved. It means a lot to me because I don't have the experience, and I really appreciate you showing up. So thank you.
Brian, you want to add anything? Good. Okay. All right.
So I guess our next steps are to actually read this, sit down and read it, and
Yeah,
then
we'll
maybe we can pick up. I mean, there
back.
seems like there are some low hanging fruit here, right?
Yep.
Like renaming the department to something, right? So we could.
Fletcher already did that.
Here it is.
No, but all kidding aside, we need to consider that and go to the members and do some more exploring of that. But I do think that is a relatively low hanging.
Yeah.
Ruby?
I wanted to just kind of ask the select board, at this point, this report has been presented to the select board for consideration. That's really the kind of intention of the report was to give to the select board to help you in your decision-making process. But we also were cognizant of the fact that there are community members who are really eager to know what we were doing, and it is a public document. So I just was wondering how you intend, do you intend to share more widely that report? How do you think you will engage the public? Will you do any outreach or engagement beyond agenda items at your meetings like today? Or do you not know yet?
I don't think we know yet.
I mean, I think we can speak to what we can do to publicize the report.
Yeah.
I mean, I would say, maybe minute that we've accepted this report as a select board and that we ask that it be posted, to the public on I don't know where it is right now, but is it highlighted on the website? Do we need to
news item or
give it? So right now it's in the select board packet on the website. We can put it on the fire EMS page on the website.
Yeah.
We always follow through with a Facebook post. If this board is looking for public engagement once this report is out, then you should expect that we'll have a public meeting. It can be in a select board meeting also where you invite the public in.
Could we, I don't think we know yet where we want to go with that, or if it's something we do kind of recommendation by recommendation. I don't know that we know. But could we put it on the website, not under the fire, as
it can be a news bulletin.
A news bulletin, that's what you call it.
And it'll go right to the page.
Yeah, that would be lovely.
Yeah.
Great, thank you.
Any public comment? Nothing online? Okay, we'll move on. Equity and Inclusion Advisory Committee.
You're muted.
We can't hear you, Swift.
Oh, I didn't know if you were ready. I just heard the opening. Is Lisa in the room?
Yes.
Okay, why don't Lisa can start. We have 3 different statements because March is a busy month. So Lisa could start.
Greetings, everybody. This is an address to the Select Board in observation of Women's History Month, March 2025. There is currently a movement in this country to contract the universal right to suffrage and to curtail natural rights for women. The fight for the right to vote for women is as old as this country. As just one example, women voted in the state of New Jersey until 1807. Many women were active abolitionists and did not fail to make the connection that full citizenship for any class of people included the right to vote. The Seneca Convention of 1848 published a Declaration of Sentiments patterned explicitly on the Declaration of Independence, listing the tyrannies of men over women. Movements to win the right to vote for women organized formally as a result of the Civil War. Here is Julia Ward Howe. The Civil War came to an end, leaving the slave not only emancipated, but endowed with the full dignity of citizenship. The women of the North had greatly helped to open the door which admitted him to freedom and it safeguarded the ballot. Was this door to be shut in our face? Yes, the 14th Amendment inserted the word male into the Constitution for the first time. There is a saying that Americans always do the right thing after they have exhausted all other alternatives. The history of women's suffrage is just one example of this truism that staggers again and again. In 1872, Susan B. Anthony voted successfully, but was later tried and convicted in an all-male courtroom in which she did not have the right to testify for the crime of voting. In 1875, another defiant test case went all the way to the Supreme Court, which ruled unanimously that women were indeed citizens, but that citizenship did not necessarily convey the right to vote. This decision redounded not well on suffrage for newly freed men of color. Several organizations continued the fight for women's suffrage, some excluding blacks, some including all. There is no coming out clean in this country's struggles to do the right thing. In the end, one of our favorite racists and eugenicists, Woodrow Wilson, finally advanced the right to vote for women in a classic about-face and with help from World War I. The 19th Amendment was finally ratified by all states on August 18, 1920. The electorate of the United States doubled overnight. It took another 45 years for people of color of either sex to actually secure the vote. March is Women's History Month. Read all about it. This is the abbreviated version. And I should mention that I derived much of this and cribbed some of it from letters from an American dated August 18th, 2024.
Thank you, Lisa. So it is also in March, Neurodiversity Week. I have to look up the dates. I think it's the 16th to the, I'll get it, I read it right when I'm done. So Neurodiversity Celebration Week, this was written by Jill Hinckley, who works at Landmark, one of our hubs for neurodiversity here in Putney. Neurodiversity Celebration Week was started in 2018 by Sienna Castleton. She was 16 years old as an autistic student who also had dyslexia, dyspraxia, which is a motor skills and coordination disorder, and ADHD. She experienced significant challenges, prejudice, and bullying throughout her education. Her negative educational experiences motivated her to launch Neurodiversity Celebration Week in 2018 to challenge the misconceptions and stereotypes that still prevent autistic people and people with learning disabilities from reaching their potential. Now this week is celebrated worldwide. Neurodiversity Celebration Week is an annual event aimed at increasing understanding, acceptance, and appreciation of neurodiversity. It celebrates the strengths and contributions of individuals who think, learn, or process information differently, and those with the conditions such as autism, ADHD, dyslexia, dyspraxia, dyscalculia, I don't know how to say that one, sorry, Tourette's syndrome. The purpose of Neurodiversity Week is to, 1, promote inclusion, encourage workplaces and schools, communities to be more inclusive and acceptable. 2, challenge stereotypes, break down misconceptions with stigma associated with neurodivergent conditions. 3, highlight strengths, recognize the unique skills and perspective. My neurodivergent child is making so much noise in the background. Highlight strengths, recognize the unique skills and perspectives that neurodivergent individuals bring. And 4, support well-being, advocate for better support systems and accommodations. Oh, great. The dates are on here. When is it celebrated? It typically takes place in March every year, but the exact dates can vary. This year, it is the 17th to the 23rd. There is not anything specific happening at Landmark for the week, but there may be something we'll pull together. But if you're interested in it, if you're interested more in neurodiversity and specifically neurodiverse education, I think just reaching out to Landmark or going to the website, it's a great place to start. And then the last commemorative thing this month is at the end of the month, but we wanted to recognize it now because we also wanted to request flying a flag along with it. So I did not write most of this. This is from the Human Rights Coalition article on Transgender Day of Visibility. I am going to move to a different space. Sorry. Okay. Each year on March 31st, International Transgender Day of Visibility is celebrated. We celebrate the joy and resilience of trans and non-binary people everywhere by elevating voices and experiences from these communities. By a general estimate, there are 3.3 million transgender adults across the United States. Trans, non-binary, and gender-expansive youth and adults are a part of every community. They are in our family, our parents, our children. They are our coworkers, our neighbors, and our friends. They are a diverse community representing all racial and ethnic backgrounds, as well as all faith traditions. While the trans community has made significant progress in recent years, the visibility alone is not enough. Rights, safety, and lives are being threatened. Right now, anti-equality officials are escalating executive and legislative attacks, trying to strip away healthcare, education, and basic freedoms from trans people. We are facing an epidemic of violence, particularly against Black and brown trans women. Today and every day, we must celebrate all trans and non-binary people everywhere and combat disinformation, discrimination, and hate impacting our community. That is the quote. That's all from the Human Rights Coalition website. I did not find many local events or resources that are posted yet because it's at the end of the month, but Out in the Open usually does a event that's usually exclusively for trans and non-binary folks, but they might do something else. So checking out the Out in the Open website is often a good place to start. There's also a Trans Day of Visibility rally up in Newport, Vermont, if you want to go for a hike. It's a little up there in the Northeast Kingdom, but it's up there. It's from 3 to 4. There's a rally that's on March 31st. And also on GLAAD and the HRC websites, GLAAD is Gay and Lesbian Alliance Against Defamation, and the Human Rights Campaign. Both of their websites have resources and suggested action steps to take to further your learning and your impact. I also want to center the trans and non-binary children and youth right here in Putney who stand bravely and solidly in who they are and challenge the binary gender systems that our culture creates and enforces. They step up to that culture and are changing it every day right here. And then ending with, we would love to request the select board or recommend the select board to fly the trans pride flag, which I think there is a picture in your packet. I believe that when it's a single day, it's recommended to do it for 3 days. So the day before, day of, and day after.
Do we have that flag?
We do not.
No, but do we have to?
So do we have the actual flag to run up the pole?
Yes.
We do not.
We do not. So, Swift, were you going to get the flag? Or what? Where are we at with? I forget the process here.
I understand. We had put a slate forward of like, hey, buy these flags because we're likely going to be asking y'all to do them. And I think that you didn't do that with the request of doing it one at a time. Once we have them, that will not be an issue, but having them be the initial request to purchase be one at a time. was what, I think that was like a year ago.
Okay.
So it's the first time we're flying this flag, so the first request to also purchase it. But yes, in action, if you needed someone to go out and fly it, we could do that. I probably would want to make it public and maybe include homeschool groups and Putney Central School. They have a, I don't know if it's called an LGBTQ club or so, I don't remember what it's called, but I know folks might be interested in being part of flying it.
I guess, I don't think we have to approve buying the flag. That is.
We have to
approve flying the
it.
flag.
Yeah.
Okay, so I don't know how the flag's gonna get bought, but I will make a motion that we fly the transgender and non-binary flags.
It's called the transgender pride flag.
The transgender pride flag on which 3 dates? On
The 30th, May 30th through April 1st.
March 30th.
March, sorry.
March 30th through April 1st. Okay,
That's
so
2
I,
days.
30th, 31st, and
30th. Oh, we have 31 days in March.
Yeah.
I knew that.
So I'll put that motion out.
Second. Any discussion in the room? Online? Heather?
I'm just curious, how many flags are we gonna fly? Are we gonna fly flags that are a little more inclusive to a broader population? March is Women's Month. Why are we not flying a suffrage flag? Good question. Thank you.
I can respond to that. If someone can find a flag for Women's History Month, we should definitely, we looked into flying the suffragette flag. It's very hard to find to purchase, but there isn't a Women's History Month flag. We absolutely looked deeply into that, and I would love more support to do more research on that. There's also a neurodiversity flag that is sort of used. It's an infinity symbol with a rainbow behind it, but we weren't able to find that easily either, and it's not as widespread known. But I would happily work with that with you, Heather, if you can find a Women's History Month flag. There's still a few weeks left in the month, or we can use it next year.
Thank you. Karen?
So you're gonna fly the flags, but the purchase of the flags, what? Coming out of,
the equity and inclusion budget?
they do have a line item, we
So-
can take it out of that.
I would say it comes out of their
Yep.
budget, yeah.
Okay.
That's what I assumed.
Yeah.
Can I make a friendly amendment to say at the town hall and the fire department? I don't think she
Sure.
said that.
All in favor?
Aye.
And Swift, you still there?
Yeah.
Just a reminder, this stuff needs to be in by
Friday.
Friday. If we're gonna, we'd like to put it in the packet, so it's all,
It
The
didn't.
statements.
Yeah, we're doing our best. We have basically 3 active members. I haven't ever gotten them to you beforehand. So that seems like a new request to me to make sure that you have them in front of you before the meetings, and I will go forward with doing my best with that.
I don't think that's a new request. We've been trying to get stuff in to
Right.
Karen by Wednesday actually, so that she doesn't have to work over the weekend to create the select board packet. Most of us didn't. Most of us didn't have that we didn't have that in front of us. It was handed to Eric just before the meeting. So it's really you're not the only committee that is strapped for time, and all the other ones managed to get their stuff in time. Not to say that I understand that.
Fine. I just haven't, this is the first I'm hearing of the request to actually have the statements in the packet instead of just being read for the first time at the meeting.
Yeah,
So-
what are we asking?
More about
we're not asking.
I'm talking about the flag specifically. I didn't have that in front of me.
The flag I think I gave that on time last week. The picture of what the flag looks like?
We have a picture of the flag. So
Yeah.
the process, Swift, I'll explain. So the week before a regular meeting, which would be a Wednesday, if anybody wants to be on the agenda for the following meeting, they need to send me a request. And then Friday, I go over the agenda with Fletcher. And then I prepare the packet, so any supporting documentation for a select board meeting moving forward has to be to me on a Friday prior to the meeting. Then I get the packet out to the select board so they have the entire weekend to review it. So it's not just your committee, it's every single committee moving forward. Because what happens is on Monday, I'm like running around trying to get a packet together, and it's not fair to this board to not be prepared. So.
100%.
Yeah. So that's kind of why it's a new process. It's, we're trying something different.
It's a sort of new process. We did try to enforce it last year. Things slide. We're just trying to bring it back.
Right.
Yeah. No, it's just the new piece of having the statements ready for you in your packet is what is new to my ears, and I will bring that to you in the future.
Swift, my understanding is that I'm not hearing that we need the statements to be put in the packets.
I think
You're feeling like we need the statements to be put in the packets?
unless they're gonna be read under public comment or.
Right.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. Time. I had to take things off of this agenda
We took a lot off.
because, and if I don't know how much material we're gonna have in a meeting, then we're gonna be here all night. So I'm trying to prevent that so you can be prepared.
So you're saying the statement should be submitted ahead of time?
By
That's what
Friday.
I just read.
Yes. Yep.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Didn't know.
Got that.
Okay, that's important to.
I think it's important for time-wise, not to vet the statement, but
everything.
more like, because we get this, and this is really long, right?
Right.
And so, that's gonna take up a lot of time, and we need to know what the time, I agree with it.
All right.
It's not to vet the statements, it's just so that we know how long we're gonna be here,
Right.
really.
All good. Thank you all for your support and your clarity.
All right. Boards, committee, and commissions. Sue?
Yes. Sue Coakley, Chair of the Planning Commission. I'm going to do this from my phone because my printer wouldn't print.
You want a copy?
My eyes might like that better. There were ones you have.
Here.
I'll just do it from my phone.
Here, if you want this, you can have it.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Great. That'll be a little easier. Thank you. All right. So this is my monthly report. At the end, I ask if you would like me to continue to do monthly reports and to do this in the second meeting of the month, so that we all kind of have that on an understanding. You can think about that. But I have been doing that for the past 2 years. The topics I mentioned here are a recommendation for a new commissioner that I'd like you to address tonight. I have a little update on the zoning bylaw modernization project. On the housing needs assessment and action plan, I have quickly come to understand that an important grant opportunity has been advanced to a much sooner date, like March 31st. That I think we need to do, and I have a resolution for you to approve it. It's a municipal planning grant. I will come back to that for the comprehensive village plan. I also address in here support that the Planning Commission has provided to Green Commons of Vermont. This was a request to the town. Select Board asked us to address it. Planning Commission has addressed it. We've written a letter of support that they've requested to support their purchase of a parcel of land and their conservation easement. We reviewed their land management plan, recommended it as a good approach to managing the land, and sent a letter to the Vermont Housing Conservation Board. So that one is done. You have a copy of the letter there, and that is responding to your request, or the select board's request, I should say. Then I have an update on the planned commercial energy facility installations in Putney that we've been addressing. I can speak to that if you'd like. There are some actions there. I provide a brief update on Renew Town Hall, but the town manager has already done that, and I have a list of our upcoming meetings. So that's what I have, and I know that you all want to go home in 5 minutes, so I will do my very best to keep this very short and brief. But I'd like to begin by introducing Mary Thumford, who is here with us this evening. Mary has put her hand up to serve on the Planning Commission. She met with the Planning Commission last week. We enjoyed meeting with her. She indicated her interest in her background. She has background in project management, in administration, grant writing, and she has an ear to the ground in the town, is quite interested in contributing to the community. That's my thumbnail. Mary can speak to herself. But we voted to recommend to the select board that she be appointed. We hope that you would do that this evening because we want to vote at our April 1st meeting for clerk. And she just put her hand up for that.
Okay.
And we'd like to have her on board as soon as possible. I don't know if you want to address that now or if you want to just run through these things. It's your.
Let's go through them, we'll do it.
Go through them? Okay. On the zoning bylaw modernization, we will have our first community meeting on April 10th at Landmark College. This will be an overview of the issues we'll be addressing, and we'll actually be engaging in activity to help people understand how zoning affects housing choices, and talking about the schedule and the process for public engagement. So that is coming up. That process continues to move forward. On the housing needs assessment, at the last meeting that I addressed, which was February 19th, where you approved the housing needs assessment and action plan. We also approved a VCRD convening of entities to talk about how we can work together to implement the plan. That convening is being planned. I believe we'll be having it April 14th, a small group and invite only. Nothing's been announced yet, but that's the latest understanding I have about that, but work is focused on that. So I wanted to give you that update. I want to let you know that I did present the housing needs assessment recommendations to the Southeast Vermont Housing Coalition at a meeting, along with some other similar studies. There was a lot of interest in the study findings and recommendations, and a lot of interest, particularly in the ideas and how we might work together and share things like housing coordination services, or to provide information regarding special housing needs to organizations like Windham Aging. Some of those things I think have legs to them. And there was a very nice article, many of you might have seen it in the comments, that thank you to Ellen Pratt. I don't think she's here, but she did a nice job of presenting that. So we'll be continuing, do some more dissemination and getting the word out about that, largely to support funding, to funding. There are two opportunities right now to implement some of the recommendations. The first one was a surprise to me. I learned last Monday that the municipal planning grant that's usually due in October or November is due March 31st. That is a primary vehicle to fund the comprehensive village plan that's called for in the 2023 town plan, as well as in the housing strategy action plan, as a way to visualize where housing would go and what types, which is a very important thing that the community is looking for, but also to identify buildable sites and to policies and incentives that could help de-risk that development. So there's an opportunity to write that grant. What is needed, as the select board has done for prior municipal planning grants, you will see in your packet a resolution form that is required by the Department of Housing and Community Development for the grant. And the form simply says that the legislative body, that's you, would enters into and agrees to the requirements of the grant program, which are standard, and that the Municipal Planning Commission is applying for the grant. My name is on that, and that the town manager would serve as the municipal authorizing officer. That's how we've done the other municipal planning grants, both the town plan as well as the housing needs assessment. And that would be passed today so that we have it in time for the March 31st grant. If you don't do that, we may not be able to put the grant in. So I'm sorry for the short notice, but you're getting it as fast as I do pretty much. This came to you on Friday. And so I would appreciate your approval of that resolution. I can speak to it further. The other aspect of my funding is what I mentioned to you before about an environmental justice of New England for New England grant that could fund the housing coordination services, possibly in partnership with another town. That due date now is May 14th. They had an initial due date of February 14th, but we weren't done with the housing strategy. You hadn't reviewed it, so deferred doing anything about this until we had the approval. That funding is from the EPA. That organization received $48 million. They still have it. They're still awarding it. And
I can't believe that one's gonna hold, but.
It may or may not. They are still going. They've actually updated their website, and
Cool.
I keep looking at it, and I will have a conversation with them after the municipal planning grant is done, March 31st, because that's first. And there are a number of letters of support that we'll be seeking for the municipal planning grant. I did mention that in them. So that, I'm trying to be very quick here, so I'm sorry if I'm jumping around a little bit. On the planned commercial energy facility installations in Putney, I let you know that the Norwich Solar Project has received a certificate of public good, and they're going to be building, they expect to be building it this year. What's not clear to me at this moment, and I will learn more about it, is whether or not there is any permitting or notice to the town for that construction. It is pretty much handled by the permitting is the Public Utility Commission Certificate of Public Good. I've not been down this road before. I will find out what requirements. I'll be asking them, and I'll be asking the PUC what if anything needs to be filed with it. But they did, at my request, I asked them what the status was, and it was approved. And the Encore Renewable Energy High-Low Biddy Energy Storage Project will be applying for their Certificate of Public Good. They expect to do that in May. I did recommend that when they did that, and they haven't done that filing yet, that the town applied to be listed as an interested party, which provides a no-cost pathway to stay abreast of the issues arise and to raise any issues should the town want to do that. So I still think that's a good idea. You don't need to do it yet, but I just want you to be on notice that if that was a pathway, and this is really up to the select board, not the planning commission, it would be in May. They plan to file, they say, I think May 23rd. So I just want you to be aware of that and not fall off the radar. And so can we come back to the PC chair members? But whatever your questions and comments are, but it would be very good to take care of the resolution and the recommendation of a new commissioner this evening. You'll see the letter from Mary Bumford, which I sent to you earlier, right after the planning commission meeting, and it's also in the packet.
So I make a motion to adopt the FY25 municipal resolution for municipal planning grant.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
I only have half of this.
No, you actually said it's double-sided.
Mine isn't.
No? Well, then let me give you the one I have.
I was just gonna read it unless somebody else does.
There's that page and here's the other page you were on.
All right, so I have to read this into the record. To the current members of the Planning Commission, Philip, Andrew, and Susan, I'm writing to express my interest in joining the Putney Planning Commission with emphasis on the clerk position. While I may seem new to the Putney community, I attend meeting at the Putney Friends meeting, serve as branch manager of the M&T on Main Street in Putney, and I'm a member of the Putney Food Co-op. I come from a history of finance and restaurants, and as such I pride myself in my empathetic listening and analytical mind. I know that I can remain impartial in all scenarios while absorbing information from the public, allowing all those who wish to voice their opinions the opportunity to feel heard before any decisions are made with my colleagues on the Planning Commission. I do want to be open and honest and will admit that I do not have a strong background in public policy, but I know that I am quick to learn and will be able to glean this information from the perspective of the Planning Commission process quickly. That being said, I do also have a history in fundraising, as this was a large part of my most recent role with a startup company based out of Pennsylvania called Philanthropy, which was rooted in philanthropic giving and creating funding inquiries for larger corporations. Alongside the funding we were seeking to pull the company out of the startup phase. In all the positions I have held throughout my career, I pride myself in stepping into the role of project manager easily and with enthusiasm. I recently gained a certificate from Google in project management which outlined in a more official capacity the work I have been doing for years. This allowed me to validate my skills of diving deep into data analytics and to equally balance multiple priorities at a time. I am also in the process of working through a data analytics course, also certified by Google. The decision to apply for this role goes a lot deeper than the certifications I hold or the skills I would be able to implement. It comes down to the admiration I have for the community of Putney. I have been able to witness the connections made here and how deeply the town cares for its constituents through my time here. I also love how much the arts are embraced by the residents and the town, and I am excited to be able to be involved in the larger Putney community and the drive to progress and push forward. I understand the current projects and priorities that the Planning Commission currently has on its plate, including but not limited to the study for the town housing needs assessment, was gathered in February and will need to be assessed as the implementation process gets underway. I would be excited to start to dig into the data to process the information and assist in the implementation of the recommended strategies for the current and future homes within Putney. Another project which caught my eye was the comprehensive village plan and the economic recovery for the town. I know that the paper mill may be in the process of purchase, and I am eager to find ways for this to be included in the plan to align with the town plan. I know that there is a lot of work to be done, and I look forward to assisting the Putney community in finding solutions that are rooted in what works for Putney, and that offers economic alignment for both the town and its constituents. I sincerely hope that I can bring my voice and ear to the table to create opportunities for constituents to feel heard and acknowledged, and to offer a comprehensive something. I know that the way that a community is planned directly affects those who live here and the communities that thrive here. I have always admired the community of Putney and really love how much the arts are embraced by the residents and the town, and I am excited to be able to be involved in the larger Putney community and the drive to progress and push forward. Please reach out with any questions and I will plan to be in attendance, which you are.
Make one other comment about Mary's application. Mary lives in Westminster. We already have another member of the Planning Commission who doesn't live in town, and that would be Andrew Morrison, who lives in Dummerston, East Dummerston. The statute says that a majority of planning commissioners need to be residents of the town. This will bring to four members, two of whom would be residents, myself and Pip Bannister, who was both of us approved for terms. We are actively seeking a fifth person. In my view, this just simply says that the fifth person would need to come from Putney, be a Putney resident. At the moment, but I just wanted to be upfront that that is the requirement and that is the situation. We really could use additional commission support, and I hope that you would consider that, and I look forward to bringing to you, maybe even the next time I talk with you, another commissioner.
Question, if we're supposed to have a majority, I mean, I'm very eager to have you on the commission, but if we're supposed to have a majority, 2 and 2 is not a majority, right? Is there any, does anybody see any problems with that? You know, is there any issues that we?
I think the next member would have to be from Putney.
Well, clearly, but I just didn't know if we could approve this until we got the other. I mean, that's just the only thing yes, you have. Yeah.
So how many active members do you have right now?
3.
3. So I would recommend, and then we push for a Putney resident.
Okay, so as long as everybody else feels okay about that.
I mean, if somebody's gonna like, I mean, they'd have to bring it to, you know, they'd have to bring it to court and say, you know, you don't have a majority, and then we can argue about that, you know, all the way up to the Supreme Court, whether it's a majority or not. And meanwhile, we'll find somebody. So that's the clock's ticking.
Right.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of work that the Planning Commission is doing right now, and it's vital that we get people on this commission.
I do know all of that. I just wanted to make sure
I think we're fine, yeah.
And one of you can be on the Planning Commission as well.
You could solve this in a heartbeat.
Well, Peggy, that's why I wanted to bring it up.
Yeah.
Because I just wanted everybody to have that in mind. But it is clearly our intent to have a full commission. We do have some interest. So we're trying to process all of that as fast as we can. So I'm going to acknowledge a slight risk, I think, as Eileen was suggesting. But I think it's all in the right direction of good government for the town. And it is our intent to be a full deck on the commission. So it's up to you.
Yeah.
This is not to throw a wrench in, but I believe that in order to have a meeting, you have to have a quorum. I think they can have a gathering, but they can't vote on anything until there's a quorum.
Well, we've been having a quorum. But I did have to have them turn a meeting only into informational one time because one member could not make it at the last minute. So we have had that problem.
Right now it's two members from Putney and one that is not?
Yeah, but they're all commissioners.
But if we add one more who's not from Putney, then we don't have.
We don't have a majority. I mean, I think that's the dilemma.
But
we're trying to build the commission, and we do have some candidates that we're talking
I understand. I'm just
they would still have a quorum.
It's a legal thing here.
It is the risk, I'd have to say, but it's an eyes open with an intent to build a full commission. So it's a choice. It's not my choice. No, it's up to you all to choose. And here Karen and I both are recommending this.
I don't see a reason to wait. I think we want to move forward. So
we take that risk.
Yeah.
Do you make a motion?
So I make a motion to appoint Mary. How do you pronounce her last name? Tomford to the Planning Commission.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Thank you.
Welcome, Mary.
Yeah. Thank you. Okay, so 1 second. I just have to say, both of you, typically I would have my small gift to offer to you as new members, and I forgot to bring it tonight. So I will find you and offer you the welcome to committee, a new role here in Putney. I know you've been involved forever, Dan, but I will find you and make sure you get it. Thank you.
Well, in closing, unless you suggest otherwise, I will continue to do a monthly report to you all. I find it a good way to make sure you're informed about what's going on. And it's just not a meeting, it's just a report.
Oh, definitely. I mean, if I offended anybody by my prior, we all have to get out of here kind of statement. I was just trying to say that we just need to. It's good to hear from the committees. That's what they're for, and the commissions. It's just that it can't be all at once. And if stuff is coming in last minute and people are expecting that to be heard as well, it's not doable.
It's not about. I mean, I had this on a Friday, and I sent it on a
you
Wednesday
were totally
about the topics,
right?
Yeah. But I think this is an unusual process, and this is a reformed new select board term, and you're all approving your policies and everything, and I just wanted you to all let me know if you actually do want the monthly planning commission chair report. I like providing it to you because I feel you're informed, but you're the receiving end, so
I think it's really, I think it's important, yeah.
keep doing it.
Yeah,
Okay.
come back.
All right, and I'm gonna try to do it the second meeting of the month, because we meet on the first Tuesday of the month, so typically that's better for me.
I just realized I was talking about attendance. It's attendance at the meeting. That is, you have to have enough presence so that there's a forum.
Yes.
In order to have a meeting.
Yeah.
Yes.
Without that, it's a gathering.
Right.
That's
all
right.
votes can take. That's what I was thinking of, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It's
We're all learning, right? We're all learning, it's all the time. Thank you for the information. Thank you all. Very much.
Thank you.
You have made my day.
Alright, moving on. Stuff with status reports, Eileen, is it the alcohol?
I said let's put that back on the agenda, and I have not even looked at it. But the thing that I remember, that there was specific, that I wanted to put in here was a graduation of fees under the penalty piece. And I know that we have some.
Could I interrupt? This is not what came out of our, what's in the packet is not where it's for the last
See, I didn't
time
even
we
look at it.
considered it.
Okay.
The last time which we looked at it actually was in October.
Right.
And at that point, we made a number of changes to it. But we left it that, what were we? We were gonna look at a waiver fee, insert a waiver fee.
Yes.
Fee schedule. Yeah, I mean, it was also, fines, and we were contemplating recidivists. Should we have increasing fines for people who persistently violate?
Right.
But the new ordinance had changed a lot of things.
Yeah.
So I think we ought to put this on another agenda and get the right copy in front of us.
That's a good idea. That's why, I think that's why it ended up in status report, but I really just wanted to get it back onto the agendas because it was very close and we just need to bang it out.
It was very close, and unfortunately, this version just takes us backwards in time,
Yeah.
so we should get
So we
where
should
we
do
got
that.
to before.
Yeah, I like that. That's all I have to say.
So that's gonna go into a work session.
Might be good for the work session, priority number 2.
But not this copy.
Not that copy, the copy that Fletcher has that I
Yeah,
probably have
and
somewhere.
this isn't a policy, this is an ordinance.
Right.
So we gotta do it the right way.
Public hearings,
Right.
yes.
Right. And we didn't have Larry get that yet.
No, and Larry has not vetted it.
Okay,
I
so,
don't think
yeah.
that was the last.
This looks more
language we
familiar,
had.
yes. Yeah,
So we're good with that?
I'm good with it.
Okay.
Can I wanna see that at the end of the meeting, please.
Sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
We did work on this. I think it was Fletcher and I worked on it.
Yeah, cool.
And
Did I get,
I'm pretty sure you did at one point, but like he said, it was back in October, so.
Yeah, I mean, that version was actually came out in the packet on October 1. That's the new version was in there 6 months ago and somehow has evaporated, so.
that happens
Yeah.
Yeah.
when something sits on an agenda for
That's,
6
when,
months.
when Joe Fenimore used to find that not all the shoes he had ordered were on the truck, he called it shrinkage.
We'll call it shrinkage.
There you go.
Public comments on the items not on the agenda in the room or online? No takers? Okay. Executive session, anybody need one?
No.
Okay. Next meeting, April 2nd, 2025, at 5:30. I hear a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Seconded.
All in favor?
Here, do you keep these somewhere?